On a magical mountaintop, under a blanket of stars, a shimmering egg began to crack. A tiny lavender dragon was about to meet the world. "Hello, little one," his mama nuzzled him with love. Dusty looked up with wide, golden eyes. Life was wonderful. Dusty spent his days bouncing on clouds, his teal, heart-shaped tail wagging with joy. One bright morning, it was time for school. Dusty and Mama walked down the mountain path full of excitement. Inside the warm cave classroom, Dusty sat at his stone desk, surrounded by new dragon friends. The teacher showed them how to breathe fire. Some blew golden flames, others made icy frost or sparks. Then it was Dusty's turn. He took a deep breath, puffed out his chest, and prepared for a mighty roar. But instead of fire, out came a magnificent eruption of shimmering rainbow bubbles. The classroom went silent. Not a spark, not a flame, just beautiful bubbles floating in the air. Suddenly, the room erupted in laughter. Dusty felt his heart sink as the others pointed and mocked him. Dusty tried again and again outside, but no matter how hard he puffed, only bubbles appeared. Ignis, a big red dragon, teased him the most. "Bubbles? You're not a real dragon, you're a toy." Alone on the cliffside at sunset, Dusty watched the others playing. He felt like he didn't belong. That night, he curled up in a dark cave, his eyes wet with tears. Why was he so different? He let out a single, lonely bubble. It drifted into the moonlight, reflecting the stars above. Suddenly, a warm, purple glow filled the cave. It was Mama, coming to find her little dragon. She wrapped him in her wings, her own heart-shaped tail resting gently on his. "You are special, Dusty." "Fire isn't the only way to be brave," she whispered. "Your gift is a wonder all its own." The next morning, Dusty walked through the forest. He still felt a little sad, but he remembered Mama's words. Suddenly, he heard a tiny squeak. A little mouse named Milo was trapped under a heavy stone. Dusty didn't have fire, but he had an idea. He blew a strong ring of bubbles that lifted the stone right up. Milo scrambled out, his paws clasped in thanks. "You saved me! You're amazing!" From that day on, Dusty and Milo were inseparable. The tiny mouse rode right between Dusty's horns. Soon all the forest animals gathered around. They had never seen a dragon so kind and gentle. Dusty used his bubbles to help everyone. He lifted rabbits to safety and shielded nests from the rain. He realized his bubbles weren't just for show. They were a magical gift that could build and protect. The forest animals threw a grand festival to celebrate their hero. There was music, dancing, and berry pies. Dusty performed the most magnificent bubble show the forest had ever seen. Everyone cheered. But suddenly, the celebration stopped. A dangerous fire had started at the edge of the woods. The animals panicked as the flames grew. Dusty stood his ground, spreading his wings protectively. The fire dragons tried to help, but their flames only made the blaze worse. They were powerless. Dusty realized something. His bubbles were filled with water. He stepped forward, ready to help. He took the deepest breath of his life and unleashed an avalanche of millions of water bubbles. Pop, pop, pop. The water bubbles extinguished the fire. The forest was saved, and Dusty was a hero. Everyone erupted in the biggest celebration ever. Even the fire dragons looked on in absolute awe. Ignis stepped forward, bowing his head in shame. "I'm sorry, Dusty. Your bubbles are the bravest thing I've seen." A year later, the mountain was a place of peace. Fire and bubbles now floated together in the sunset sky. Remember, like Dusty, you are special exactly as you are. Shine your light, and the world will shine with you.